everybody in already from the showcase side?
I've told them.
People at the showcase area, please come over. Everyone here is waiting. Hello, get your butts here. Thank you. I see you, GIP intern. Get your ass here. Okay, please have a seat. We will start the next talk. Can I invite Chin Hong?
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Cheryl. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Oh, thank you. Wasn't expecting that, but thank you guys. Thank you for coming to this talk. Special thanks to SGG, Gwen, and Cheryl and the crew for organizing this. It's not easy to organize something like that. So thank you very much. Special thanks to Cheryl because she had to put up with me because I had to do some last minute changes to my slides. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. Okay, so this is my talk for today. Monetizing your mobile game lessons from China. Okay, this talk isn't about breaking into China. Okay, that's a topic for another day. It's like a 5-month course that I've conducted. But this is about monetizing, how we can learn what we've learned from China, how we can monetize your games better, right? Because guess what? No money means no studio, right? Very simple. You can't run on empty. You can run on empty for a while, but you can't run on empty forever, right? So, okay, sorry. I have yet to introduce myself, I'm sorry. My name is Ben, it's actually short for Batman, but nobody needs to know. Because I'm the co-founder and Cape Crusader of Incense Studio, was actually. Because when you're a co-founder, you can call yourself anything, and it sticks. So I've been doing games for about not 10 years, okay. A little bit less than 10 years, since 2010. I am also a Carnival Showtime alumni. Okay, this was done on the Windows Phone 7, which I'm sure everybody has one right now, right? Yeah, see? Okay, before I go on any further, I like to keep things very lighthearted. So if it's anything remotely sounds like a joke, it probably is a joke. Please laugh, otherwise I feel very sad. Okay, that being said, we have quite a bit of material to cover today. So there's a link to the slides. So you don't have to copy anything. There will be a link to the slides. I hope it's still there. Okay, so I started my journey in 2010 in Gambit. We did Carnival Showtime, Windows Phone 7. We did not know how to monetize it, okay? So we made it premium. So days went on, we did Nightmare Duel in 2012. It did pretty well at game shows, at trade shows, but still, we didn't know how to sell it, right? We didn't know how to monetize it. All the way until 2013. 2013 was when Incense Studio was actually founded. We still did not know how to monetize the game. So our first title, Amazing Slightly Strikes, was more like a showcase piece to show our investors, potential investors, what we could do, because that was done in 3 months. So in 3 months, if we could do this, imagine if you pump money into us, what can we do, right? Then we started taking one of our previous IPs from Gambit, Dark God, and we tried going to China. Okay, 2014 was something, a big period of transition. We did some prototyping work for DNA. And then we went to China, 2014 to 2016. So that's the bulk of the talk is about what lessons we've learned in that time period, right? Also, by 2017, we were actually kind of self-sufficient. By Dark Dot didn't sell as much as we have liked it, because by the time we learned all those lessons, it was a little bit too late to wrangle everything in, right? But by 2017, we were actually self-sufficient. But for reasons I cannot say here, Incense is no more, right? But never mind, we've learned pretty good lessons from it. So this is the state of affairs today. Okay, so these are obligatory slides with numbers because it makes me look smart. Okay, games is still serious business. It's worth 70 billion, about 70 billion. It's fastest growing market. It's going to clock in at about 46% this year. It was supposed to clock in at 50+%. More than half of all revenues from games were supposed to be from mobiles. But guess what? Last year, China had this restructuring. So no new games were approved for 9 months. Imagine 9 months, and we still have this type of growth. So it's crazy, okay? So US will overtake China again. Surprise, US is not the biggest consumer market, okay? China was the biggest mobile consumer market all the way from 2016, and they were supposed to go up some more. But because of the restructuring, now US are going to overtake China again. So there is a huge market, especially for China, and how they monetize, right? So, okay, mobile games is still serious business. And right now, what's the problem? Okay, there are like 3 million apps on each app store. About 1 million are games. It's extremely crowded. So to get your app out in your mobile game app out there is difficult. And what else? Consumer behavior is terrible. Okay, nothing short of terrible. Because we've been spoiled by developers, so we shoot ourselves in the foot, right? So previously, games were like $30 a piece. Steve Jobs came out and said, okay, we are going to make things really cheap. How cheap? 99 cents. So suddenly, your games from $30 became 99 cents. Okay, never mind. Somebody else came about and said, 99 cents, that's way too expensive. We're going to make it free. Right? So right now, you have things, most of them free. So how bad is it? Okay, let's take a look at numbers, okay? More numbers. Okay, 1.9% of all players pay for something at all. That means 1 in every 50. And 1 in every 500 happens to pay for half of everything, right? These are your whales, right? And this is how the graph looks like. It's crazy, right? So 2 minutes. 2 minutes is all that it takes for a player to decide whether they want your games. 20% leave after the first 2 minutes, 50% don't return after the first session, 70% don't return after the first day. So that is scary. 4.5%, this is the best retention rate after 30 days. So by this time, 95% of people have left your game already, right? Of course, there are people who are coming in again, but these are the people who stayed. And this is a Star Wars game, right? So it looks like this. Scary, right? Okay, so how do we survive the freemium model? Okay, the answer is very simple. Go to premium games. Okay, no. That's way too simple. Okay. Actually, I am half serious about premium games because premium games are on the rise. And there are, pros and cons about premium games. It's sometimes a little bit easier. Okay, there's this lecture that I did previously about getting your designs right, getting your methods right, but I'm not going to cover it today because we're short time. I only have 20 minutes. I timed this to be about 25 minutes, right? So I have to go through really fast, but I will put a link below, at the end of the thing, so that I understand most of you are students, so that's good material because we did some research on how games should be like. So get it afterwards. Right, first thing first, a word from our sponsors. Yes, challenge everything because your business will be different, okay? It's not going to be what game you're making, how you're approaching it is different. So challenge everything I say, and even if you agree, think different, right? Think different, because if you follow in my footsteps, you will get the same place, roughly about the same place. So, monetizing your game. Okay, this, because of lack of time, I'm going to skip this very, very quickly, but I am assuming that you've already done your user studies, you're already, before you made your game, okay? Because it's really important to understand your target audience and how they consume your content. Because if you do not design with the end user in mind, it's going to fall, right? Okay, so if you're not done that, you have to understand that most people play mobile games to pass time, right? They play during commute, they play during lunch, they play before they sleep. Okay, nobody schedules a time. Okay, I'm gonna play this mobile game this weekend. Okay, unless you go on raids, okay? Okay, and games that monetize really well, give players a sense of progression. So this sense of progression is very, very important, right? So design for mobile means you do not take a PC game and just shove it there, wrangle it, and then, okay, it's a mobile game, right? You need to make it easy to pick up, easy to play, easy, short play time. Okay, these are essential. So this is, okay, introduction is over. How much time have I spent? Because the timer, okay, never mind. We are going to study the anatomy of China games. What makes China games different from other games, right? Okay, like the rest of the world, they like it free, right? That's common. People like things free. So free to play is very, very common. And it's the biggest market out there, so freemium. Autoplay pretty much started in China. In 2013, 14, when we were going to China, it's like, wow, autoplay, so strange. It's like, you play by not playing, and then sometimes you pay to not play. So it's like, didn't compute with me. Okay, but if you understand, like, people play during commute, so it makes it convenient for them if you autoplay, right? And this is also brought about because of the ban in, the console ban in China. So all the way from 2000 to 2015, no console games were sold in China. They were not allowed to sell console games. So China players, they either need full control or no control, or something like that. It's very extremes. So that's why autoplay. Okay, so pay to win. This is something that almost the rest of the world does not like, but in China, it's very okay. I mean, I pay, you must give me an advantage. But the thing is, because it does not sit well with the rest of the world, if you are going to target both China and rest of the world, it's not going to work very well for you. So there's a very fine line you have to tread, and I'll go into a little bit of details on how to balance this. And okay, the one of the biggest thing here that I learned from China games is there's little to no ads. Like for the rest of the world, ad revenue makes up for about 40% of all income. But for them, they have little to no ads because they have a very, very tight regulation on ads. So if you want to contend with your competitors, you want to contend with the regulations, you must well don't have ads. So because of this, they made their monetization methods very sharp, right? They had to make the monetization methods very, very efficient. And that's what we're going to learn. And their games are actually designed around progression, which is euphemism for design around monetization. Because of this, just because of this. So what we do right here, I mean, in most schools is, you prototype a game, make it really nice, you play test it, okay, great, we have a great game. So what do? We find out how to sell it, right? You inject your monetization methods inside. For them, it's a totally different thing. They turn it upside down. So what they do is they figure out how people will progress, how people will consume the content, how leveling works, how merging works, how collection works, and then they put a game around it. So their leveling is key. Their meta level is the key to design. So they have to play test to make sure that the meta level works first before anything else comes in, right? And next thing is they have high production values, but a very, very short time. The turnaround time is probably about 3 to 6 months. Okay, so high production value means they have like cinematics, they have voiceovers, and it's something that kind of is frowned upon in, okay, because what they do is they have a small initial payload. So your initial download is very small, but on first run, you download a lot of stuff, okay? Rest of the world does not like that, especially US side, Western side. They prefer, okay, you tell me this is 1.5 gigs, I will download 1.5 gigs, and that's it, right? So this is something you have to balance as well. Okay, so okay, I've finished my introduction. So that was a bit of an introduction. This is the main meat of the presentation. So I'm trying to tell you is what I'm trying to teach you is how to capture the audience attention. Because remember the previous numbers, you only have 2 minutes. Okay, sometimes this 2 minutes is from your marketing trailer. So on your Facebook or whatever, you see an ad, you click. That's your first 2 minutes, right? Some of them don't even decide to download your game. They don't even try it out. So how do you capture your players' attention? Okay, give it a guess. One word, 5 letters, starts with W, ends with U. Okay, it's waifu. Okay, waifu and husbandos. Okay, same thing. Okay, you only have that time, so your visuals must be there, okay? Your visuals need to be there. Your waifus, your husbandos, and fancy art and whatever VFXs has to be there. And if you know me well enough, I'm not your typical male, okay? I have a confession to make. My waifus are actually Transformers. But okay, this makes it a point. It does not have to be your usual waifu, but it has to appeal. If it appeals to a very niche audience, it still has to appeal, right? But if you want to appeal to a wide range of audiences, yeah, waifu lah, okay? Next thing, gameplay. In your trailer or in the first 2 minutes, you must showcase your core gameplay. How is it meant to be played? What are your waifus supposed to do? Because you have waifus, you don't give them anything to do. Yeah, people get confused, right? So make sure it's play tested and certified fun. That doesn't mean only internally, okay? Progression. Progression is very important because people want to see where they can go from here. What other waifus can you collect? What will your waifus become? Okay? And storyline. Storyline is something that in a lot of people neglect storyline because it's like, oh, short gameplay, oh my God, need a storyline. Because storyline is a very mobile games is a very single player. No, it's a very solo experience. It's not a single player experience. Okay, most people play mobile games with groups of people, right? Like they play in raids, they play multiplayer. Multiplayer is actually an essential part of mobile games, but it's a very solo experience. People don't crowd around on mobile phone and say, "Hey, why are you playing? Can I watch now?" People do that with console games, yeah, but they don't do that with your mobile games. Not very much. So your storyline actually is more important in that way. So after you've captured the initial 2 minutes, after the first initial 2 minutes, what do you need to do to keep your user? Okay, you need to work really hard for the players' first buy-in, okay? Because once people start paying, they're committed, right? I paid 99 cents for this. I will play the shit out of this. Okay, I'm not supposed to say it. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, they will play. Once you are committed, you committed some of these funds, you will have to, oh wow. Okay, I have to go through really quickly because I just got notification, 5 minutes left. Okay, double first purchase, offer powerful item or character with first purchase, time-limited first purchase orders, and targeted offers. Okay, powerful characters, because at this point in time, not many people have played our game yet. So you can kind of pull the wool over their eyes and give us. Most people give a second to third tier character, but you can give something that's not that good. But the thing is, I would say that honesty is the best policy because some people, if they like your game, they actually create multiple accounts to play, right? I roll and then I don't get something good. I create a new account, I play, right? So honesty is a very good policy. That goes for your time-limited first purchase offers. See, sometimes people say, 30 days only. After this, no more. And then some people repeat after 30 days, right? Okay, the last point, the personalized and targeted offers is actually very important because now you're collecting so much play data from your players, right? So with AI, you actually can decipher your users' player pattern. If they are collecting waifus, then you keep throwing waifu of the year ads to them, right? Encourage them to spend. Okay, balance. Okay, racing against the clock. Balance is the key to life. what you need to balance is this. Very, very, very important. If you want to monetize, this is something you have to balance, right? Free to play versus pay to win. Okay, this pay to win is hated like everywhere around the world, but except for China. But guess who are paying for your game, right? Mostly it's pay to win people, right? So you have to give them an impression that they have an advantage. They appear to have an advantage when they pay, but you have to make sure that those people who are free to play also have a chance. Because if you have too much free to play, no one's going to pay for your game. If you have too much pay to win, no one's going to play your game, right? The pay to win people have nobody to bully; they will leave. Okay, I mean you need a user base, right? Okay, I will skip this. Essentially, you want to make sure that the users do not consume your content faster than you can produce it, right? So you have to balance this progress versus grind. So they have to grind a little bit, but you have to allow them progress at reasonable points. Appeal versus sleaziness. Okay, this is kind of off balance nowadays because you see waifus everywhere, right? But I mean, you don't want people to download a game and then when people ask them, hey, what game are you playing? Oh, I'm playing this so and so. They say, yeah, you play this type of game, It's not nice, okay? So make sure that you balance everything out. Okay, so how do you balance? Balance, easiest way, fastest way is let people buy chance. Gacha. Gacha as much as possible. Then make sure you have a good distribution of your rare, SR, SSR, and UR characters, okay? People nowadays don't use ABCD anymore, right? It's like in local speak, Simisai also R1, everything also rare, right? So what do you mean by good distribution? Okay, you have to give people, kind of playable characters. So we cannot give them always the easiest, the most basic ones. So at least the second tier must go in. But how hard is the UR, which I call unusually rare? Okay, because first few categories is basically rubbish, still rubbish, and sometimes still rubbish. Sometimes still rubbish is the ones that you usually offer to your players. Okay, the unusually rare is about 2%. 2% means, empirically speaking, it takes them about 1 year to get a pool, if you give them one pool a day. Okay, and one way is to restrict some items to Lucky Wheel only, right? Okay, encourage spending. This is where I urge you all to exercise caution because we are treading on addiction. Okay, so I'm counting on the brains of the next generation to break this. Okay, if you can find something better to break this, it'd be better, because what they do nowadays is they flood you with premium currency, right? So every time you collect do a task, every time you log in, you get a reward, you get premium currency, and every time. So every time you buy something, you get an increase in level, so you can unlock more areas, you can do more things, you can buy more things. Okay, this is very important, right? So incremental rewards means you give them more chances to buy things, so they can spend their money, right? And subscription-based premium currency, this is like, if you can buy 60 crystals for 99 cents versus you pay $4.99. I give you 100 upfront and 30 crystals every day. Second option works better, right? I mean, you give more crystals and you lock the user in for 30 days. Okay, this is something you can try. And you give people items and sets to collect. People like to collect things in groups, right? So you can make one of the items unusually hard to get, right? So when you find that, hey, I have like all these already, I don't have that one, so people will pay for it, right? Okay, so about the rewards, about flooding people with premium currency, would that not devalue your premium currency? In a way, yes. But guess who is printing the money? Guess? Yeah, you are. Okay. Okay, I'm going to finish. Okay, you can talk to me after this. Okay, I promise you all the links to the slides. Okay, it's unfortunately a DLC, 699, please. Okay, Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, Bitcoins. Nah, just kidding. Okay, I'm going to take some questions if I have still time. Okay, these are the link to the slides, so please help yourselves.
No question?
Yes, loot boxes. What do I think of them? It's okay from consumer point of view. I don't like it lah. But I mean, it makes business sense, right? Because gacha is actually very important, especially when you want to balance like free to play and pay to win. Because you give players a chance, more chances, the pay to win players to have more chances to get items. So that kind of balances out everything, because if the free to play person is lucky enough, he can get somewhere.
Thank you very much.
I hear that in China, what happens is if you have a successful game, there'll be other developers who quickly copy your game and just make a clone, just change some of the skins, and it's exactly the same gameplay and everything. How would you prevent such things?
That is slightly off tangent, because that is going to China market. But you are right. They have their own version of Overwatch, PUBG, anything you think of, they name it. That's why going into China requires special strategy. You need a partner. So, I mean, more of this we can cover in another session.
Okay, thank you.
One more question, anybody?
I heard that China there's this called the consoles, right? They ban consoles and they don't allow like console game to come in.
Mm-hmm.
PS4, all these
Yes,
I can't
yes.
find in China. Yeah.
Until like 2015, yes.
Yes, correct.
So your question?
How do I, if I want to release for console to China, how will I release the console game for China?
Okay, once again about branching in China. Okay, well, maybe next talk should be about how to get into China. But yes, you need a partner, right? You need a partner to do that. Because I kid you not, Singaporean Chinese is not considered Chinese. As in, we are still kind of considered outsiders, right?
Any more questions? Okay, then we'll close this.
Okay.
Thank you, Chin Hong.
One more thing, come on. Okay, this is important because it's really hard to do mobile games. It's really, really hard. If anybody tells you it's easy, they don't know what they're saying, okay? But why do we still do it? Why do we do what we must because we can? Because if not you, then who, right? How many athletes, how many gold Olympians have we produced? One. How many international singers have we got? A few, couple, right? But do we stop doing because it's hard? We do not stop doing because it's hard, okay? I tell everybody that it does not require enthusiasm. It does not require passion. It does not even require some kind of dedication, right, to your game. What it requires is some kind of devotion to your craft. So do you still go on doing it when it's hard? Okay? So it's hard, but keep trying. We will see success stories if you don't stop trying, right? So thank you very much.
Okay, next up we have Kah Hui.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for surviving the talk so far. I'm going to talk a bit about career in gaming. I saw that there were several of you. Most of you are students. Some of you are starting in the industry. Some trying to enter the industry. So just a show of hands. I just want to know how many of you are programmers? Okay. How many of you are artists? Game designers? Data scientists? Huh? Don't have? Okay, okay. I'm going to, this is important because for a lot of Singaporeans or a lot of people going to industry, they have a very, very narrow view of what are the people that work in the industry or what courses lead you to the industry. So I, for one, okay, I'm forced to click the next slide even though I don't want to. Okay, sorry. So I, for one, I graduated from NUS as well. My degree has got nothing to do with games, chemical engineering, and minor in law. I don't know why I'm standing here, but that's what I studied. Just now, Nicole mentioned about life sciences. Yes, a senior project manager on my team was a graduate from life sciences with specialization in micro something something. And then he's in games for 10 years. So first of all, I think this is a very good forum for you all to understand more about the industry and about what you should do and every step of your way to start your career here. This is a typical game development cycle. You know, you go through pre-production. This is the idealized model. Nothing ever flows this way in real life. This is what you put in textbook, so at least it can fit in the page, right? And then you can label figure 1.5, game development cycle, something like that. Nothing ever works that way. If you have, I would strongly encourage all of you to at least read. You may be surprised, like, I'm not going to be a writer, why I read? But the thing is, there are some books in the industry, at least a few, I'll talk about it later. Read about the games industry, read about the life of some of the game studios, be they indie, be they individual, sole proprietor, be they be AAA. It is heartbreaking to read some of them. Very gifted people that suffered a lot for games. And to find a passion, to continue to find a passion in this industry despite all that is happening, all going on. A career in gaming. I joined the industry by accident. I didn't even know I was going to join a game company when I was offered a job by Electronic Arts. So the only excited people were my brothers. Yeah, because, and after that, they had very good time for the next few years getting free games because every employee get 10 free games every year, PS4. Those that retail for $60, I get it for free. Yeah, so that's the thing. When I started in EA, I have seen many rounds of layoffs, seen people invest in, let's say, online teams, then see online teams disappearing, see new people joining, next year they're not around, see more and more jobs being outsourced, keeping only core teams. So it's pretty sad, but yet I think EA for me was where I make most of my connections in the industry. Until today, I still keep meeting people that knows my ex-colleague in EA. I still come to industry events and meet a lot of ex-colleagues, so I think that was important for me. Let's talk about, when I was asked to talk about the career, what are the different jobs that you can possibly do in the industry, I looked to my company. So Keywords, we are like a technical service provider to the industry. We do work with a lot of studios. We have, I think, at least 600 clients or more, big and small, for my service line alone. I don't know about other service line. Just now, he mentioned about 2-minute trailers. We have special game studios that just make trailers for hundreds of thousands of dollars. So if you want to know marketing costs for AAA, sometimes it goes as high as that. We have people, labs that just design sound, music, just like Gwen and Jeremy, what they are doing for the sound in games in the industry. So there are many, many areas. Let me just go a bit. So art services, you may think about the general, these are some of the roles that you may see in art services. This is not all. There are many some special games that you need special artists, VFX or something like that. But generally, when we look at art, there's 3D, 2D artists, there's VFX, there's cinematics. There are many, many roles within the art services. We have many art studios, more than 10 brands under our group. And then they work on very different areas. Some are very strong in concept art. They describe to you, I want this, 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 this. And sometimes people pay a lot just to make the icon on the App Store so that it looks cute. When you download it and you show people on your phone, right, the icon is quite cute. What's that, that kind of thing. So there are very specialized areas that we work on. Same audio services. This is, you should really have Gwen here to talk about sound, but sound design, composing music. And composing music, you must understand, not all music, not all games maintain the same music across all regions. We do more than that. There are games that replace all the music inside when they go into China. There are games that choose a different type of music when let's say they do the game that's developed in Asian country, they change the music when they go into the North American markets. So all these changes is not taking the whole thing and then change the language and then dump it into another region. That's not how we work. Engineering is a big one, I asked just now, because I think for all of you, when you program, you work off some of the major engines like Unity, DICE has Frostbite, that's Unreal. So there are people that build the engine for you to use. And then there are people that build the tools for you to use, so there's tools programmer. And then there are the people that are programming or working on the game on the engine, on the tool itself. So you will see a lot of this, like build automation engineer. Why is build automation? And now we have QA automation as well, that you do automated testing on the game rather than being manual. And then the huge area coming up, data science. Data analytics is important. Just now, when Ben was talking about, how you know what to sell or make it attractive for the player. If I sell a blue sofa or red sofa, will more people buy the red sofa or the blue sofa? If you want to monetize and you're going to sell the sofa, you better choose a color that sells better. I mean, that's... So there's a story around this. I went to a huge publisher in China for a meeting, and then they told me, okay, the meeting room is over there, all the data scientists are inside. So I walked into the room, opened the door. Wow, there was a group of students inside, t-shirt, shorts, with our laptop sitting there with Starbucks drinks. Then I was like, sorry, wrong room. Closed the door, came out. And then, no, it's correct. He's there. So those are the team of PhDs in their early 20s who are in charge of data analytics. And they are damn good at their job. And they were hired right out of school after they completed their PhD. And nice gender split, 50% male, 50% female. They were selected based on their dissertation or their final thesis on data scientists. So this is how much they invest in data analytics. And you will see, like, why do we have human-computer interaction research scientists to study that? We have neuroscientists. In keywords, these are real jobs in our group, by the way. So we have teams of people that study, applied cognitive psychologists. Experimental psychologists, what they experiment with humans, okay? Data scientists, there's the big data engineer. There are a lot of jobs surrounding this, and this is huge. That's why when I ask anybody in data science, no. I'm surprised why they are not here. Banks in Singapore are hiring a lot of data scientists, by the way. So these are areas that if you think that you can do games and monetize properly and make it successful without analyzing the data, then you are very wrong. You can do try and error, but now people are taking a more structured approach towards this. Okay, QA. QA is I think a lot of people, have anyone done any game testing? Okay, good. Within the school or for your studio? Okay, good. Also, he has done a lot of, I think testing is one area where a lot of people I've met has started their careers in. And then I know, Nico has left, but when I was with DICE, their technical director started as a game tester. And then 10 years down the road, he's a technical director in charge of one of the major titles in DICE. So I think for a lot of you, when you are looking for entry-grade jobs, a lot of you may start as a tester. How you approach your life as a tester is also you can also plan for your career in that sense. Some people, they go into testing day in, day out, just playing the game and go home. Some people learn to understand how to do regression, how to look at bugs. And I have seen, I was with Bright Light Studios, the one that made Harry Potter. They have this embedded tester initiative. So they have tester from the functional testing department being embedded in the dev team where they sit next to engineer. At first, it was more to help to regress the bugs before they generate the build. And then later on, it became like the engineer taught him how to fix basic bugs. And then later on, he knows how to fix bugs. And later on, he went to, further himself, went for upgrading, and then he can become a programmer, and then he slowly moved closer to what he wanted to do, something even nearer to game dev. But this is a guy who has the opportunity, and then he made use of it positively and built upon it, rather than sitting outside on the fence and watching, I want to go into this industry. Why I mentioned this, some years back, I was with Cheryl together at one of the school. We were giving a talk about this industry as well. And then I remember, there was once together, Michael was there as well. And then this was a very memorable experience because I didn't realize that people have a very naive view about how the industry works. So together with the panel, I was on stage with my colleague who was from testing, and then there was an artist and one indie studio developer. And someone from the audience asked, how long does it take to become a game producer? So we told him, okay, about 6 to 8 years experience. So the guy asked, so during that 6 years, what should I do? Or do I just wait at home? And then for a moment, you can see the bewildered look on all the panelists look at each other. Did I just hear wait at home? Yeah. It's not a waiting time. It's not a waiting time. Like you graduate after 8 years with some related degree, you naturally become a game producer. It's about building your experience over that 6 years. So let me go to the next one. Just now someone mentioned about China. Someone mentioned about bringing console titles to China. When you bring console titles into China, you must understand there's first party you have to pass. And on China, you have to pass the SAPP RFT. You know what is it, right? Okay, research SAPP RFT. But they are going to reorganize. They have a game censorship board. They have people that has to approve the game other than first party compliance. So when you are going into the area, you need to really localize your game well. You have to abide by all the geopolitical constraints and be aware of what is allowed, not allowed in the region. So I think one of the major ones would be the text in the game. That's where localization comes in, where there are translators, people that translate, not only translate, but localize the game. There are culturalization consultant experts that look at the game, subject matter experts, people that look at whether and flag all the controversies that may surround the game, excessive violence, gambling element in the gameplay, things like that we will have to flag if you intend to go into a market that are not likely to accept that. And then there are people that they are localization engineers. Why localization engineers? Because when we receive text from a lot of dev teams, they are often very messy, to put it politely. And then they don't have version control. They forgot which are the new tags they wanted, which are the ones that are no longer in use. So that is why you need to work with professional partners who can help you localize your game. So that's one. And then, of course, there is the localization QA part, people that actually test the game. I think the toughest job right now, I would say the VR linguistic tester. Because when you are, how many of you play VR? How many of you can sustain long hours of playing VR without throwing up? Do you want to explore an opportunity to? No, because VR game testers, it's pretty bad. Sometimes I see them testing, and then they can't see anything that's around them. And then suddenly there is someone that, then there are friends behind poking fun of them, and then taking photos or doing something funny, and then they don't know. And then at the same time, you are wearing something, and then it can be very giddy. Some people develop motion sickness, worse than the motion sickness my tester had when I did Mirror's Edge. But the fact was, it is not easy, and you have to give them a lot of time out to let them take a 15-minute break every now and then. But VR is, they say it's up and rising, and then you have to test it, and you have to look at the text, and then wearing the thing. So it's not easy. It's really not all my linguistic tester can do VR, for sure. Audio comes in where you have game, sound, music, everything to be incorporated, and then you must make sure that it actually plays correctly in the game, which is important. Some people doesn't check. Okay, then we come to post-launch, where you have player support. This is also a very important thing. I think a lot of games, when you release, you have your Facebook page. You happily put it there just to, push messages out. But have you thought about people that is going to put negative comments, complain every time your server goes down? Who are the people that are going to answer those questions? Have you thought about how to engage them? What if there is cyberbullying in your game? How are you going to deal with that? Do you have people on your team, or do you have publishing partners that can help you handle that? Because sometimes things get out of hand. Sometimes you need to manage it because it's becoming a crisis, and then you become infamous for all the wrong reasons. So these are areas that you all have to think about. And these are people that are pretty important in, like, community managers, social media managers. These are people that are specially trained to answer questions in your game. You cannot just pick anyone off the streets. That person has to know your game very well in order to, promote it to the players, in order to answer it correctly, in order to react to what is happening in your community. So if you haven't thought about it, this is some areas that you can explore. And all these jobs that surround the launch of the game, I would say that in the making of a game, it doesn't make a game producer rank any higher. I wouldn't say that they are ranked any higher than, let's say, a functional tester or programmer. I believe that it takes all roles to push out a game, to successfully launch it, to support it, and to carry on through the whole game life cycle. It is not about some people being more important than the rest. You cannot do without any part in the puzzle. There's one other area that I didn't really touch. We also have marketing. So twinkle, twinkle. Okay, 5 minutes. Yeah, there are also people handling game marketing specifically, which is something that you will need when you launch your game. So let's go back a bit. So my advice to you, how many of you are trying to develop a game in only one language and prepare to only sell it or launch it in one language? How many of you plan for your game to be released in Asian markets, North American markets, or in European markets, and you intend to localize it? How many of you plan for the localization of your game? Do you plan for it in your UI? I mean, even the button of OK and cancel, in some languages, they can be pretty long. Have you checked it out? So if you haven't done this, why I would say it's important? Because I have met some indie studios, they developed a game, became a hit by chance, by accident, or through the sheer hard work, or they were really brilliant because no one has imagined that. But the problem was when investors come in and say, okay, I want to bring this to Vietnam, and they struggle with the font. I want to bring to Thailand, struggled with the UI. And then they realized that when they built their game, they did not take into the potential markets that they are going into. They didn't build anything around how to bring their games to other countries, how to make the text easier. Some even hard code the text such that at the point when they want to pull it out and, let's say, translate it all to Japanese, they have to go in the code and replace string by string, which is really brilliant if you haven't think of it. But when you're going to start building a game, think about where you want to go. That should be the short-term plan, like at least release it in English, for example. But if you're going to release it in Thai, have you thought about your UI? Have you thought about how are you going to, do you know Thai font? Do you know whether Hebrew is right or left writing system? Have you thought about it? You have to start thinking about this, especially for Asian language, the non-Latin alphabet base, because these are going to be challenging. So another thing about some of you, another area you may consider to work for a AAA studio, to work for an indie studio, or work for us like a service provider. When I was in keywords, I only had to worry about all the keywords titles year after year. But when I was working with EA, I only worry about the EA titles. And then after I work in keywords, I have to worry about everything. So sorry, let me. So these are some of the clients that we work with. The major ones. There are still another few hundreds more that I cannot fit into the slide. These are some of the major titles we support. Some of it are unreleased, we can't put, so these are some of the older titles, but these are what we support from all services. These are some of the brands within keywords that are working on art, music, engineering, as you saw just now. Yokozuna Data is the one that is on data science and player research studies about the gameplay and the game design. So, okay, that's all. I play this, right? Okay, just to show what we do. Q&A, any questions? Oh, there's a question.
You mentioned that you sort of got into the game industry like unexpectedly. Is there anything that keeps you staying there, like keeps you inside?
I would say that it takes a lot of passion to stay with the industry. Last year at other events, I mentioned that games industry is not a 9-to-5 job. And then my friend posted online that this is my code. And next moment I said, will I get any hate mail, something like that? Yes, this is an industry that pushes you to, you have to be passionate about it. It is, that's why I said it's career in gaming. I didn't say jobs in gaming. Because it is something that you really, sometimes you have to decide, you have to give up something in your personal life in order to stay in the industry. And ever since my talk last year, earlier this year, you have heard about a lot of closure of studios, layoffs in some of the major studios, and some of them very legendary because of the great games they made. And it is very heartbreaking to see it happening. So I would say that passion is very important. And you must know what you're getting yourself into, as in you plan for it. So you don't have a very idealized view of what it's like. Just now, the video, of course, it was the people looking nice and fresh. Maybe they let him rest for 1 week before taking the video. But then if you see a normal gamer, even my translator come with the panda eyes to work sometimes, because last night she was trying to figure something out, translating or something like that. And yes, I would say that's the one. If you want to know more, there is one book, Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, that you should read. It's about some of the major games that the development team behind it and their stories, which you should take some time to read and know what are the hardships that some of the studios go into. In the whole book, there are AAA titles, AAA studios. There are some that's individuals that's trying to develop a game and struggle through. It's his journey of struggling through that game. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, then we will end off your session here. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, next up, we are going to have Alwyn from DaylightX.
Can you use this? Just press next.
Yeah, just press next.
Okay. Hi everyone, I believe it's quite late already, so I shall make it fast and hopefully don't bore you guys. So I'm Alwyn from DaylightX, which is an accelerator program that we are trying to come out from Daylight Studios. So have a show of hand, has anyone not heard of Daylight Studios or Holy Widows by any chance? I feel a bit sad if you haven't heard. Because we have been here for around 8 years already. So we started in May 2011 and we have been creating this games series called Holy Potatoes. So my whole idea is to make wholesome original game IPs with captivating gameplay, storyline, characters, and bring joy to the audience. So let me run through with you what we have done over the last 8 years. Actually, when I do this type, I was quite surprised that I made 8 games over 8 years. It's quite tiring and damn shag, I can tell you that. And we actually focus a lot on premium titles nowadays. We actually went from free to play, then we actually hit quite a big loss in 2014. So we had to actually change it. We bet everything on our first Holy Potato titles, and surprisingly it went well, and we actually recouped it back in 1 month. So back then I don't even know who is Markiplier, and he played our game. We actually got a lot of sales from him. So from then on, we actually built on the game and deployed the game onto multi-platforms. Because thanks to Unity, because it's a premium game, it's already done game. We actually deploy it to iOS, Nintendo Switch, and PS4 with different game experience. So that, because some people play mobile, don't play console, and don't play PC. I myself am not a PC user because Mac cannot really play games. So I play more mobiles nowadays and console. So that's where we actually continue to build more and more titles and then try to build on this brand called Holy Potatoes. So people actually remember us as the guy that made potato games. Don't remember Daylight Studios. That's the branding we have created. So as you can see, over the last 8 years, actually we started off building games on your old school Nokia handphones whereby you run on warp technology. So we actually try to squeeze a whole MMORPG into that warp technology, and that's where we started off doing Reign of Heroes. It actually got us well. After Android market came in, then it actually killed us all. Then we had to change to iOS. Then we changed again to Steam. Back then I also don't know what is Steam. Okay, so we have to learn a lot of things along the way, then understand technology, understand the platforms. Then we actually went back to mobile again because there was a big hype in Steam. Suddenly then, I think there was a year or so mobile went down because there's too many free-to-play games also. So then now we actually go to Nintendo Switch. It came out 2 years ago. Every indie company actually went to make games on Nintendo Switch. So we're actually jumping all around. And now we have the skill set of making games on multi-platforms and making premium games for over the last 3 years or 4 years. Yeah. So using all this know-how, so one day I decided to come up with this idea of DaylightX. So it's an accelerator program whereby we will provide mentorship from early stage game development to full commercialization. So I will go through in detail what we're actually going to cover. So one fundamental question definitely you'll ask, why you should join? Okay, it's a typical question because I would say we are really one of the first few developers out there, still surviving, still struggling. It's really, really hard. And we have gone through 8 years of failures and trial and error and obstacles. So definitely we have all the experience to help you guys from the start to the end as much as possible. And we have seen a lot of games actually develop in Singapore, but just that you never dared to see light of the day. And coincidentally, I'm calling Daylight also. So somehow it rhymes a bit. So I kind of like this phrase. So we want to see actually more game developers from Singapore actually can at least see through their products to the at least full commercialization stage if you guys willing to do that. Because some people actually has a lot of good ideas. Actually school projects, there's a lot of quite a good school projects, just that it doesn't build to the last stage, which is the final commercialization, which is actually the toughest part. I would say making games is not the tough part. Selling the game and marketing game is toughest of all. It actually contributes like 70 to 80% of your success. So that is how crucial is marketing, doing it very well. So the whole idea of DaylightX, we actually hoping it to be a stepping stone to lend a helping hand to aspiring game developers who want to learn the full process, not just game development alone, because that one you can learn that in school, which is doing it very well. So it's meant to, our goal is to actually promote a culture of collaboration for talents and indies to come together, and we actually build games together. Because I emphasize a lot on wholesome, because the reason I feel that games nowadays is too much killing and too much blood and gore. So we're trying to build good IPs and good storylines so that at the end of the day, why you play games is truly because of the entertainment value, I would say. So I actually emphasize a lot on that. And I feel that some games are really too much focused on advertising and trying to suck up every dollars that you have. So I feel that I want to bring back to why you actually play games, why you actually want to buy these games to support the developers, which is a very tough industry, very hard. So what do we actually provide? Let me run through with you a typical, I would say, game development cycles. You will go through a planning, development, post-production, and promotion. So if a person, a typical guy, want to create their own games, these are the things that you will normally always do. If you are not doing this, means something is wrong already. So you have to plan what is the mechanics, the genre, and so forth. So you can go through that. And most of this, what you should be going through in school, maybe not the post-production, making the trailer, QA testing, and BGM and SFX, and social media. Like, once you finish your game, you ask your friend, go and buy as much as possible and support you. That's not the right way to go, okay? So what exactly we will cover is all the ones in purple, which is actually a very essential thing that we tend to overlook. And we try to come in as early as possible to even decide what platform really. Because if you're an artist, you will know that building art for different platforms requires you to plan it from day one. Like building a mobile game and a Nintendo Switch game is very different. All your art assets need to be vectorized, and then you need to care about the environment and so on and so forth. So from there on, we actually had a hard time trying to port our 4-year-old game to a Nintendo Switch. It took us 6 months to do that, because we never planned for that, and 4 years ago there was no Nintendo Switch. So we actually saw a gap, then we actually do all the art, redo all the art again. Thankfully, we do it in vector, so all our art actually, when we resize it, is not so bad. So then you need to think about code structure. There's a lot of things you can plan from day one. You will actually, for those who are programmer, right, if you know, sometimes it's easier to plan on day one. If you predict what is going to happen, it will make your life easier. Sometimes you redo the whole project faster than you actually modify your project. Then, the most important part is actually the last two parts. If you realize actually game is very similar to your movie industry, like Spider-Man is going to come out, right? Actually, they launched the trailer 6 months way ahead to get people to know that this movie is coming out, get people to recognize this. Like for games also, it's very similar. So actually for games, we have to do that. Not do 6 months, 3 to 6 months will be a good guideline. So we actually try to step in as early as possible to help you to bring out the marketing, and then you do alpha, beta, press release, and so on and so forth. And then that's where keywords come in, we do localization. Because China market is very important, I do agree. I can tell you, now there's a market shift. Majority of my game sales is actually from China. And the sad truth is, Singaporean, a lot of people cannot speak Chinese. So China is very important right now. Even I myself, I have to go back and learn Chinese. And because holy potato actually is not called maling, so it's actually called tuto in China. So you also need to understand the culture. It's very important. And China actually contributes to my majority of my sales right now. So China is very important because it's still the biggest population. So no choice. So yeah, these are basically, if you want to know more details, I'm not going to go through in details what we actually, in the end segment, you want to know more, you can actually talk to me. And we actually have one game that's right now with us in DaylightX, and actually 3 other games that is from Neon and NTU that we're actually helping them to do to full commercialization. Yeah, so you can check out this game. It's over there. They are going to launch it in Q3. Normally, we try to avoid Q4 because there will be a lot of AAA releases and so on and so forth. So these are the things we'll take note of it. Yeah, and one thing is, DaylightX won't take any equity, we don't take payment, we don't own your game. Okay, my whole idea is just to support you from head to toe. I might even invest into you to support you as much as possible. So it comes with asterisks, typical Singaporean terms and conditions apply. So yeah, so talk to me about it, because it's not possible for me to help each and every one of you guys. So I will have to handpick those that have highest potential. If don't have potential, I will actually have to give you the right direction to actually hit to that stage. So because I believe that there's only so much a school can teach you, but creativity has to come from yourself. And what game you actually, most people, if you're going to study, right, they make games that because they can't find a similar game out there in the market. That's why they make their own game, like Stardew Valley, their big titles, like one person make one game over like 4 years. I don't think Singaporean can do that. I also cannot do that. and while doing a full-time job, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So this is the idea we have so far. So how to join? Try to email me and show me any other projects. One of the interesting idea I had is, you guys, actually most game projects, right, you took like 3 to 6 months to make one game during school, right? Actually, I'm thinking I can actually help you to fully commercialize because you're going to spend the effort 3 to 6 months anyway. So if you and your friends have a brilliant idea, I can actually try to support it because some of the ideas actually can be quite good and can be commercializable. But they want need school commercial. So I'm actually talking to Nian and NTU already. They are quite supportive in terms of the IP rights and so on and so forth. Then if you are planning to go and start your own game company, please try to talk to me first because jumping in, because it's a really quite a tough industry to actually start off. Yeah. And if you have friends that who is working a full-time job, working on the game on the sideline, which most of them are doing that right now, so we're actually happy to help out as much as we can. Because we have gone through really 8 years of pain and hardship. I don't want any more Singaporeans to go through that again. Localization might sound easy. I can tell you it's a big thing that you don't want to open up. Because let's say my games, right, we have Tony's touch in the game. Can you imagine how to translate Tony's touch into Chinese? I cannot imagine what is it. Yeah, just imagine to different language. We actually localize to English, German, Spanish, Italian, Chinese, and quite a lot of languages, 7 languages. Yeah. So one more thing, in 2020 also, I'm sure you guys might have heard of this program called Gambit and SUD Game Lab. So I might be doing something similar in 2020, so look out for it in Q4. Fingers crossed, yeah, if we can do it. So it's putting game students from different schools together to make games, and then we try to commercialize from there. So last but not least, please, shameless promotion, please check out the game. It's a mobile game. I think it's personally quite good. They have a very interesting, cute taco character with like an octopus. We said it's called a hexapus. Yeah, so it's quite an interesting IP there. I thought you guys should check it out. Any questions? You can ask me now, or you can email me or talk to me later. I'll be here for a while. I'm based in Block 71. So yeah, any questions so far? Am I going too fast? Yeah.
Just help them to ask a question which they may have thought of yet.
Okay.
You mentioned legal support in one of the slides.
Yes.
Maybe it's good to elaborate for them legal support required, like what they need to think about.
Okay, definitely one thing is the IP rights. Because for me to actually help you, I need you to own the game. That's one thing for sure. Because I would say IP is a very loose term right now, even an idea or a conceptualization, not even a product. And building games right now is so fragile, as in I can just copy your idea, it can be a new idea already, and just change a bit. So that is how fragmented it is. So we will try to help you to protect your IP as much as possible, to make sure you own the whole product. And that's where all my 8 years of knowledge, and we have a lawyer with us, definitely. I have shareholders also who are lawyers. We are backed by a VC. So that's why we can try to help you as much as possible. And people tend to overlook the legal part in a way, and IP is something, it's so easy, like just now what Ben has mentioned, it's so easy to copy a game actually, really. But how to protect your ideas from being stolen is, there's 2 things I actually summarize you can never be copied, is story and characters. No one will copy that, but mechanics can be copied, don't forget. That's one thing you cannot trademark or say this mechanic is mine. That's how sad is it for the gaming industry. So probably that answered the question for the legal side of things.
Hello, I want to ask, is this DaylightX is only for Singaporean or?
Okay. Right now it's for anyone that is based in Singapore. Because for us, we actually go, you can incubate in my office. Right now, we actually go on to work with you almost on a daily basis, if needed on a weekly basis. So anyone based in Singapore makes it easier for us to talk to you. And right now, we only have 4 teams because I figure if I take too many people, it will be overstretched for me. So anyone based in Singapore will be more convenient for us to actually interact directly with the developers themselves, so that we can give a more hands-on experience, I would say. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So like I understand like Pixel has their own incubation thing. So are you doing on top of that or like separate from what Pixel is doing?
Okay, so I'm working with Pixel right now, talking to Geraldine. Actually, so I'm trying to work hand in hand with Pixel. In the long run, we might be the so-called the filtering channel for them, and actually get Pixel to support in terms of space, in terms of support for location and venue, because there's only so much people I can put in my office. So I'm in discussion with Pixel right now to see how we can further collaborate in terms of space, in terms of providing any other things. I think they have hot desking, if I'm not wrong. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, we will end off the session. Thank you, Alwyn. Okay, can I have Gwen about to do the closing speech, and we can move on to the showcase after.
Hey everyone, congratulations for surviving, yay! We have nearly come to the end of the day. I wish I can just say closing speech, okay, thanks, bye, but I'll try to keep it as short as I can. So I'm Gwen, and I work together with Dawn. Dawn, can you wave? I know you're thinking. Okay, Dawn and Cheryl, wave. Okay, she's not waving. Yes. Basically, three of us make up Singapore Games Guild, and we are a registered non-profit association based in Singapore. So we've been around since about 2017, but we make our first public appearance on our very first industry day, which was July last year. And that was held at NUS Enterprise. So this is our second year holding it. And what we do is we advocate for digital and physical game creation. When we say game creation, why do we not say games development? It's because we want to acknowledge that games creation involves an entire ecosystem and not just development. So we have people who are journalists, academics, teachers, that are part of this ecosystem as well. So that's the main thing we do. And we also run events. As I said, Industry Day, which started off as an idea to bridge the knowledge gap between schools and the industry. We tied up with this global outfit called Game Dev Drink Up as well, which organizes monthly social meetups for people from the games industry. And sometimes we hold Singapore Game Pavilion, showcasing made in Singapore games at prominent events such as GameStart or like SDGCC. And also more fringe events like roundtables and fireside chats. So an example of a closed roundtable, it is very private, maybe only 8 people. And then the last one that we held was something to do with like, what do you think about expression in games, self-expression, artistic expression. So that was really good. And we intend to cut these into videos and showcase them on our YouTube channel. Yep. Oh, by the way, we also hosted the Game Dev Worlds recently. Game Dev World was something run by Rami Ismail and his team, and it was the world's first global game conference that was fully online. So we ran it for about 24 hours upstairs. That was pretty hardcore. So, if you visit our website, which is sgg.org.sg, we actually have an entire community-built database of both of both game companies and the made in Singapore games. And actually there's like 120 game companies in Singapore. It's like, even though Singapore is so small, right, we actually have quite a bit of companies here, and about 2/3 of them are involved in content development. So it's quite, if you all want to see more stats, feel free to visit our website. And also, something surprising which I found out with the stats is that between 20 to 25 are shipped annually. So it's like, for those of you who think that there's nothing really going on in Singapore, actually there's a lot of things going on. It's just that it's on the database itself, and it's a mixture of like both digital and physical games. And besides the events that we do, there are other really cool organizations that run events. So one of it is our sister organization, which is the IGDA Singapore chapter, which has been around for very, very long. The newly founded Singapore Women in Games, Asia VR, which are actually holding an event upstairs right now as we speak. They're actually holding like a VR hackathon now. Singapore Indies, Janadi and James Banat run Singapore Indies. Coffee Shop Game Dev, while folks that want to work on their own games outside of their day job come by at night in the coffee shop to work together. And of course, Game Audio Singapore. So on top of our own local community, because obviously the games industry is international, we do not live in a silo. It is quite important to like build rapport with other game dev associations and community leaders. So in some of the pictures, there are community leaders from IGDA Philippines, IGDA Taiwan, MDEC, IGDA Malaysia, which is not shown here because I've never taken a picture of Sean back. I will go and bug him. Yeah. And the new Women in Games Malaysia as well, Li Ying. So it's it's cool because, being new to the job of running a community, right? You need the support and the advice from folks who have done it before. And sometimes we liaise on emails and messenger on to get validation and suggestions on what we should do to best grow our communities. And one of the things that we really want to do is have delegations from Singapore to level up KL, and this is actually in the plans. So we are working with the Travel and Learn program, which is part of NP, Ngee Ann Poly, to form this curated, structured program and also provide some sort of support for Singaporeans planning to go to Level Up KL. Speaking of which, I'm actually really, really thankful because I don't know how many people of you here are from Malaysia. Raise up your hand. Yeah, it's a huge bunch of people from Malaysia. And I'm really speechless as to how y'all just had a major event yesterday and managed to come down today, with some of you even staying in Johor and taking a train down today. So that's pretty insane. So I always feel we should build this relationship with Malaysia. I'm very thankful that y'all came down to build this relationship with us also. So, yeah. And last but not least, I would like to thank our sponsors, Pixel, who have been very, very, very helpful in sponsoring this amazing venue and providing food, which, by the way, there's more food coming at 4 p.m. Yeah, so if you want free dinner, please stay. So Pixel runs incubation for game studios and tech companies. Most of the spaces are upstairs. You can have the venue here. If you're interested, you can go and find Richard, who's maybe in the office there. Secondly, I would like to thank Elephant, who has been doing a really good job here with the streaming. If you haven't noticed, we actually have live streaming on the Facebook site. We've also cross-posted to IGDA Malaysia. So everybody's saying that it's really seamless, the audio is good. So we are really happy for that. Elephant are also the people behind GameStart, which everybody knows GameStart, right? And also games marketing and other major game events. So for those of you stay until here, right, you'll get rewarded with a very special deal from GameStart. If you want to have a founder's base, which is a booth to showcase your game, right, feel free to approach any of the Elephant staff there to get your special rate for today only. Yeah, so you heard it from me first. And of course, thank you to all the wonderful speakers that I left here. John Blow is somewhere. Oh, there, hi, thank you. Yeah. All the topics today were very, very well spoken about, and they were all very diverse topics, which are very good for graduates and students to listen to. And of course, the volunteers who are, yes, volunteers, yes. Yeah. I think honestly, we wouldn't have done it without their help. So, by the way, if you're interested in being a volunteer, we have a booth right at the registration counter. You can sign up. So, as I promised, I think that's all. Now you can mingle and makan already. Thanks everyone for coming.